In today's video, we're going to change the air filter in the MR2 to this HKS Super Power Flow. So we've already made a couple changes to this car just in the time that I've had it. We've changed the air filter from the stock air box to one that I picked up at AutoZone. And the idea was to just allow more air to get through to the engine. Because on this year MR2, the stock air box pulls in clean air from underneath the car. And as we all know, that's probably gonna be some dirty air. So I put in a new cone filter that's in the engine bay. And yes, it's gonna be a little hotter, but it should be better in the long term. The reason it should be better is because we're changing it from this old enclosed system that pulls air from underneath the car to something open and more free flowing. And that's gonna be better because you can get more air into the motor. And with more air, you have a more efficient combustion. That should just equal more horsepower, in theory. How does it do that? It does that by allowing the ability to pull more air to go through the throttle body into the motor, or specifically your cylinders, where your cylinders are gonna compress it. There's gonna be fuel dumped into it through your fuel rail, and then there's gonna be a spark from your spark plugs. All of that's gonna come together to create a small explosion, and that explosion is what's gonna power your motor. So if you have a better, more efficient explosion, you have a faster motor. So here now, we have this new HKS one. We're gonna install that today. We're gonna first pull off the old cone filter that I installed before and try and fit this in. I'm not 100% positive that it fits, but it'll be worth a shot because I think this one might be more efficient than the cone filter that I already have installed. So let's get to it. So here's the filter that I did have installed. It's not the worst filter, but again, like I said, I just wanted something better, and hopefully this one is better. Again, I don't know if it'll fit. Another thing of note is that I already had to get a special adapter to be able to fit the cone filter onto the air fuel module for this car. Because the way the stock air filter is on this model, it doesn't really allow for the installation of this type of filter. So having a specially made bracket to connect it makes it a lot easier. So now let's install the new one, or at least try to. Again, I don't know if it'll fit, but I'm gonna give it a shot. So we've run into our first problem, and I was kind of thinking it was going to be a little bit of an issue, but I figured I'd just send it anyways. Because the back of this is just a plastic, it doesn't really crush down to fit onto the flange. So that's going to be a bit of an issue because, as you can see, it just flops around. It actually just popped right off. So I need to figure out a way to get this to fit on without any issues. And I have this, which doesn't fit. I had a couple different sized fittings to go in here, but if you look at like this deformity here, it's starting to kind of become out of round and not really fit right. So I don't think that this really is going to be a viable option. So I was gonna try and see if I could find anything that was like silicone tape or something along those lines, something thick enough to provide a gasket in between the plastic and the metal that it attaches to. But I don't have anything like that on hand, and I'll probably have to go source some. But in the meantime, this is still a viable option for us to use. It's definitely better than this old airbox, where this filter in here is probably decades old. So it needed to be upgraded anyways. And if you're wondering, is this really necessary anyways? It's also worth noting that for the 87 and up models of the MR2, Toyota actually removed the version of the airbox that they use in this car and relocated the filter to the trunk of the car. So they knew it was a problem. They knew sucking the air in from beneath the car, not the best take. So even they relocated it. You also might be wondering, well, how true is everything that I've said in this video? Well, take the ZX4. This, the ZX6, the ZX10, all of those bikes use something called ram air. And what that means is it takes air in from this space here and directs it straight into your airbox. And what that does, it provides more air through your airbox so that way it can get pushed into your motor for more combustion. And according to Kawasaki, that generally ends up resulting in about a 3 to 4 horsepower increase. Even the manufacturers of these bikes know the importance of getting clean, fresh, and consistent air into your engine. So what do we have left? Well, reinstall this, figure out a game plan for this, because it did look like it actually fit. And I like the way that it didn't touch up against the walls on the engine bay. And it also provided a nice minimal look. So I really liked that. I appreciated that. I just need to find a better way to have this installed in the car. Also, while we're here and we already have some things disconnected, it might be worth me looking into figuring out a better way to implement the Jimmy bracket, because as we talked about in the last video, the location of that bracket and where it positions my throttle pulley, it touches the AN fitting for my fuel rail. And while it might not be the biggest deal now, over time, that friction is gonna create a hole, and then I'm gonna lose fuel pressure. And that's one of the last things we want to. So I either need to reposition my AN fitting or figure out a better way to have my throttle pulley installed in that location. So with all that, I'm gonna leave everything torn apart right now because, like I said, there's still more work I need to do. And we still haven't gotten the car actually up and running. So digging into it like that while things are disconnected is probably the smart move for the course of the winter. So in the meantime, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe, because I'd love to hear from you. And if you have any questions about engines or anything we talked about in this video today, let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer it. Have an awesome day.